Hola, ¿qué tal? Soy Javi, bienvenidos a English Listening. Hoy os presento un vídeo en el que Mike nos habla sobre el Rock and Roll Hall of Fame de Cleveland y la verdad es que tengo que reconocer que no desconocía totalmente su existencia, así que realmente pues he aprendido mucho con este vídeo. Recordad que como siempre, después del vídeo de Mike, regreso yo y os hago algunas preguntas. Mike, cuando quieras.
Welcome back to English Listening. I'm Mike. I hope that you like my new white background. The green was a little bit too offensive to the eyes, so I thought that maybe I would try something new. It's a little wrinkled, but bear with me. Maybe I'll iron it or steam it in one of the future videos. Today we're going to talk about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Now, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is one of the greatest attractions that is in Cleveland, Ohio. I live in a suburb of Cleveland, Ohio. I'm about 8 miles away. And we've had the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame since about 1995. Let me give you a little bit of a history about the Rock Hall and how it came to be in Cleveland. In 1983, they formed a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Foundation in New York City. And this foundation's job was basically to figure out what city deserves to house all of the memorabilia of rock and roll in all of rock history. And there were a lot of cities that were trying to get the Rock Hall to be built there. Cleveland was one, obviously. New York, I think we had Memphis, Chicago. There were maybe 6 or 7 cities. I don't remember all of them. But they were actually traveling from city to city, and they were being wined and dined by the mayors and being told why each city was the best option to house the Hall of Fame. And Cleveland stood out mainly because of a guy named Alen Freed. Alen Freed was a radio host or a disc jockey. In 1951, he actually coined the term rock and roll. So because of Alen Freed and because the phrase rock and roll came out of Cleveland, it was the best argument for actually making this the actual location of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, because the origin of rock and roll was from Cleveland. And I also believe a lot of the actual singers as well. So it wasn't just Alen Freed, but a lot of the singers who were in the early days of rock were actually coming out of this area as well. Even though there is an argument for them coming out of Detroit or Motown, but that's another day. Now, the one issue that I've had with the Rock Hall over the years is that they don't actually do the induction ceremonies in Cleveland. They instead have all of the artists that are going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame go to a big party, a big extravaganza, a big celebration in New York City. Why? I don't know. I really wish they would actually have the induction ceremonies here in Cleveland. And I do believe that they're trying to actually do some form of induction in the Cleveland area, meaning having the celebration with the actual artists every 4 or 5 years. But frankly, I don't think I've ever seen it. So I heard they were going to do this. I still haven't seen it happen. So that's one complaint that I have about the Rock Hall, is that they don't actually celebrate or do the induction ceremonies here. They do them in New York. That's just how it is. I guess it's better to have something. We have a museum, I guess. We just don't have any of the famous people coming here. They're all going to New York. Now, when I actually went to the Rock Hall my first time, it was a very interesting experience. Now, the Rock Hall has multiple levels. It's a very interesting building. It's on Lake Erie, and it kind of goes out into the lake a little bit. It's a very interesting shape. It's a very unique looking building. And it's part glass and, part concrete, obviously. It's well structured. But you can go in there, and they have a movie theater in the lower level, and they actually basically will just show documentary footage from, I think when I was there, they were actually showing Jimi Hendrix. They're calling it the Jimi Hendrix Experience. That was the name of the exhibit. And they were showing, all of his concerts through Woodstock and the different prominent concerts throughout the 60s and 70s before he died. And but you can go around to other stations outside of that main theater room or theater. You can go around to little stations, and in these stations they have earphones, and you can listen to original radio broadcasts from the earlier days of rock. And obviously they have costumes from just about every artist, and they have like the original music notation and any kind of memorabilia that would be popular. Is like original guitars that were in specific performances. It's a really great place. Now, the Rock Hall actually has about somewhere between 600,000 to 1,000,000 visitors a year. So it is one of the biggest attractions in Cleveland, aside from our sporting events, the Cleveland Browns, the Cleveland Indians, the Cleveland Cavaliers. Those are our major sports teams. So if you ever get a chance to see anything in Cleveland, if you could only do one thing, I would say go see the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That's going to be the most unique experience that you can get out of the Cleveland area. See you next time.
Muchas gracias, Mike. La verdad es que, bueno, como he comentado, pues no conocía la existencia de este lugar. Queda en mi lista, ya empieza a ser larga, mi lista larga de pendientes para cuando visite Estados Unidos. Bien, vamos con las preguntas. La primera se refiere al año de fundación del Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. ¿Cuándo fue? Siguiente, ¿quién acuñó en 1951 el término rock and roll? Tercera, ¿qué es lo que no gusta a Mike del Hall of Fame? Cuarta pregunta, ¿a qué músico vio Mike cuando visitó el lugar? Y última, ¿cuántas personas visitan el lugar cada año? Recordad que las respuestas a estas preguntas están en la descripción del vídeo, que esperamos que os haya interesado y os haya gustado lo que os ha contado Mike y que os sirva para mejorar en el idioma inglés. Para sugerencias o cualquier apreciación acerca del vídeo o nuevas ideas, etcétera, podéis usar el espacio de comentarios del vídeo. Si os ha gustado el vídeo, pues marcadlo como favorito, que nos ayudará un poco. Y bueno, no olvidéis suscribiros al canal si os gusta. ¿Qué más? Pues no olvidéis, os recuerdo, no sé si lo sabéis, pero en cualquier caso, todos estos vídeos que vamos publicando, además de estar en YouTube, los estamos publicando también en mikeandjavi.com, donde además podéis ver otro tipo de información que vamos a ir publicando, pues alguna que ya tenemos y alguna otra que estará en el futuro. Y creo que es todo por ahora. Os espero en la próxima entrega de English Listening. Gracias, hasta pronto.